so many of us know about the assassination of Malcolm X in the Audubon Ballroom. And since that took place in 1965, many have said that the individuals who were arrested, who were charged, who were convicted, who went to prison were not responsible for that crime. Well, Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance is absolutely agreeing with that. And on tomorrow, they will formally be exonerated as a result of what took place. It is an absolutely shocking and stunning development when you think about what took place. And that is the Manhattan DA, along with defense lawyers and the Innocence Project, they are going to ask a court to dismiss the convictions of 83-year-old Muhammad Aziz and the late Khalil Islam. The New York Times, they're reporting that evidence was withheld during the trial of these individuals. They say that the FBI and others had information that pointed to someone else being the trigger man. These individuals actually had alibis that were legitimate alibis at the time of the shooting. Witnesses testified of the person who they saw shoot Malcolm X, not even matching the description of these two as well. So much conflicting information, and this has been discussed for a number of years. It was last year when the documentary dropped on Netflix. Well, one brother was so focused on finding out the truth, who killed Malcolm X, and his work also was critically important in terms of shedding light on this case as well. And he joins us right now. Let me bring in Abdul Rahman Muhammad. Brother, glad to have you here. How you doing?
It's my pleasure, Roland. Thank you.
So for people who, again, who may have seen the newsreels and heard about the story, lay out for folks what their version of what happened and what was described, and now what we're seeing about these undercover cops who were in the ballroom who no one even knew existed, and how that information was being withheld. Because you really did a great job with this documentary of really nailing down who was behind, who was the trigger man and the ringleader behind the assassination of Malcolm X.
Yes, Roland. The prosecution's case at that time involved only 3 men. And according to their theory of the case, it was these 3 men who both created the disturbance or the misdirection in the back of the room. And then once they created this misdirection and this distraction, that they then rushed the stage and carried out the assassination of Malcolm X. They actually fired weapons, a Ruger, a pistol, and a sawed-off shotgun. Now, what we have always been saying, we the scholars who have been studying this issue, is that there were actually 5 men involved in the squad that murdered Brother Malcolm, and that there were 2 men in the back who created the disturbance, and 3 men who sat in the front with the weapons. The first and the most deadliest of which was William X. Bradley, who went on to become known as Al-Mustafa Shabazz. He is the shotgun assassin who bore no resemblance to Thomas 15X Johnson, Khalil Islam, who they say, according to their theory, fired the shotgun. And also they say that Norman 3X Butler was also one of the shooters. They say that he fired the .45. However, he was not there either. And yet both of these men were convicted in 1966, and they both served at least 20 years. In the case of Brother Norman 3X Butler, today Muhammad Aziz, who we expect to be exonerated tomorrow, along with Thomas 15X Johnson, Khalil Islam. He served 20 years, and Thomas Johnson served 22 years.
But also, these men, this has been a scarlet letter. they have been seen as the murderers of one of our greatest leaders. And only one of them is still alive to experience this exoneration. One died being called the murderer of Malcolm X.
Roland, I remember researching these men and looking at their prison records, and it says first-degree murder. And I said, man, that's a hell of a thing to carry for the rest of your life, especially when you didn't do it, and especially when it is such a towering giant and leader of our people, Malcolm X. It absolutely destroyed their families. Brother Muhammad Aziz, who will be in the courthouse tomorrow and at the press conference, he has no relationship with his children nor his grandchildren because of the stigma, because of the shame associated with being the alleged assassin or the convicted assassin of Malcolm X. It was absolutely horrific.
The shameful thing that happened here as well, which Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance talked about. He's, first of all, apologized on behalf of law enforcement. The withholding of information, crucial information that should have gone to the defense attorneys. We've got 3 attorneys on our show today. And to think about, had they had that, Vance is saying, had that information been revealed, in all likelihood, no jury would have convicted them of these crimes. And actually, it would have led to a proper investigation of the individuals who actually committed the crime. But NYPD, FBI were not interested in doing what was right.
Roland, what's so appalling about this whole story is that we've known for many decades now that the FBI had 9 undercover informants in the Audubon Ballroom, and the New York City Police Department, through its Bossy unit, Bureau of Special Services, had at least one, possibly more, but one that we know of, Gene Roberts, who was an undercover police officer for the New York City Police Department. And none of these people, who were all witnesses to the assassination and gave very detailed descriptions of what the assassins looked like, not one of them was called to the stand. In fact, they weren't even their names weren't even revealed to the prosecution team, such that they could be called to the stand, or the defense, for that matter.
It is absolutely shocking and stunning. It goes to show you how deep COINTELPRO was, how the NYPD and the FBI despised Malcolm X, and frankly, they clearly were happy to see him no longer walking on this earth. Why did this gnaw at you? And how long did you pursue this effort to try to get at the truth of what happened on that fateful day, the Audubon Ballroom?
Roland, this question has always bothered me from my earliest days as a freshman at Howard University, where I first was exposed to the story when one of the convicted assassins, Talmadge Hayer, was doing interviews with Tony Brown and Gil Noble and others, trying to get these 2 brothers exonerated. This goes back, 40 years when I first was exposed to it. And it just, it begged for attention. It was a story and a case that could not be denied. And it just needed someone to actually care about it and carry it to the end. And it just so happens now that we're living in an age where the United States is trying to reckon with, its racist, troubled past. And it just happens that we're living in that era now where it's not as dangerous to deal with this type of material. So, I'm happy for the brother Muhammad Aziz tomorrow, who will be exonerated, and brother Khalil Islam. However, it's a bittersweet victory because no one can give him back the 20 years that were taken from his life. No one can restore to him the relationship with his family and his grandchildren. And it's just a really a sad and a disturbing story.
And for those who saw the Netflix documentary, you know, uncovered, if you will, the individual who many believe was behind it, and this person ended up being a prominent figure in New Jersey, if I'm correct, and has since passed away.
That's correct. Living something of an open secret. Well known. In fact, that's the problem with this whole case, is that from the very beginning, from the time the convictions came down, it was never accepted by the historians and the researchers who have looked at this case, because it was well known in the Muslim community who the actual assassins were. And as you say, the last one to pass away, William X. Bradley, his name was Al-Mustafa Shabazz, was his Muslim name for the last couple of decades. He was given a hero send-off and was considered a pillar of the community, and was given a funeral some would say was more majestic or celebratory than Malcolm X's own funeral.
Wow. That is striking. That is striking. I think so. My panel, each one has a question. If I can have just ask one question of you, because this is going to be again a fascinating story, and you spent a whole lot of time. I'm telling you, people have not seen the Netflix documentary. You definitely want to check it out. Robert, you first.
And it's interesting. I did see the documentary on Netflix. Also took a class on political theory, Malcolm X, back when I was at Clark Atlanta University. So this is a subject I've been fascinated by for so long. How deep do you think the whole goes when it comes to determining exactly the people who are responsible for the death of Malcolm X? Because it seems a lot bigger than even these individuals. How deep do you think the rabbit hole goes, and do you think that will ever fully be explored?
Well, to tell you the truth, hopefully this is just the beginning of the revelations, because the Manhattan DA was able to unearth evidence that even we were not privy to. Keep in mind, the Manhattan DA can request governments through the Freedom of Information Act unredacted. See? So when you see our series and you see all the names that are blocked out, they can request those documents fully exposed. So, and they also were able to, detect other evidence that was not privy to us, and we're going to see. We know for a fact that the COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program of J. Edgar Hoover, that there were at least 3 high-level FBI informants in the top leadership of the Nation of Islam in the middle of the 1960s. So yes, we're going to, and we also have to find out, was the government protecting this shotgun assassin?
Monique.
Yes, I was just wondering what, if any, reaction there's been from the Shabazz family.
Well, because the story is just breaking today, I have not had an opportunity to speak to. I normally speak to Sister Ilyasa Shabazz, and I have not had an opportunity. I mean, the story is just like literally breaking, as we speak, and I have not been able to find out what her thinking is about it today.
Scott.
Yeah. Brother Rahman, where do we go from here? Are the real assassins and the co-conspirators, are any of them still alive? Are we demanding that the Manhattan DA's office do more? Is this an ongoing investigation? Will anyone, who's alive be held culpable for his assassination or not, in your opinion?
Well, I think now it's just an issue of trying to just determine what exactly happened and how deep our government, if at all, was involved in the assassination of Malcolm X. What role did they play? Were they merely instigators and stoking hatred and vitriol against Malcolm in the Nation of Islam, or did it go further? to the point of actually, recruiting assassins to carry this out. I mean, these are the kind of questions that we would like to interrogate the government on. But this is a political question. It requires a political power. It requires a voice. And this is the reason why it's taken so long to get to the bottom of this thing, to the extent to which we have already in the series, is because there just was no political will to do it. There was no advocate for these brothers. They were just forgotten and locked away.
To work with the DA's office in Manhattan. Alvin Bragg is going to be the new DA and an African-American brother. And I hope that you continue to press the issue. We all need to press the issue, because this is bittersweet, because there's still a lot of unanswered questions as well.
Well, let me share this with you. What we do know is that Talmadge Hayer, who filed these affidavits naming his co-assassins, he is the only one of the 5-man team that is still alive with us. All the other accomplices have since passed away.
Thank you.
Abdurrahman Muhammad, look, great work. This is, of course, we'll see what happens tomorrow. And yeah, there should be a complete investigation, not only the Manhattan DA, but also on the federal level as well. Because, again, if there are individuals who are in the FBI who knew about what was going on and they're still drawing pensions, they should also have to atone for what they did by being silent and in their involvement in the assassination of Malcolm X.
Thank you, Roland.
Video in just one moment.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am Roland with Roland all the way. Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on that.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?